How's everybody doing? We are going to talk about wintertime catfishing. More specifically, rigs and stuff that will help you guys hopefully increase your success on the water. I'm here in the Midwest, and I was fishing yesterday, and the water temperature in the Mississippi River was 38 degrees. With that being said, we are in the middle of January, which is about typical for our water temperature here in the Midwest. So some of these tips will kind of vary depending on your state location. Like if you're in Texas, whatnot, you're gonna have warmer water temperatures. All right, the biggest thing I want to talk about is basically a couple rigs I use a lot in the wintertime. I am a big Carolina rig guy. I use a lot of Carolina rigs in the wintertime because your fish are typically laying dead on bottom here in these cold weather. And I love using the Santee rig, but that's in the summertime months. So I want to get that bait down on the bottom. So I use a lot of Carolina rigs and Kentucky rigs. You guys go back in my videos and I can show you guys how to tie a Kentucky rig. But your standard Carolina rig, all it is a snelled hook coming down to a big barrel swivel, a rubber bead to protect the knot, and a sinker slide. And now in the wintertime, like in the summer months, I run about anywhere from a 24 to 30 inch long leader on my Carolina rigs. In the winter, I drop down to about a 16, 18 inch long leader line because I want to keep that bait as closest to the bottom as possible. And now my hooks, in the summertime, I throw giant hooks. I'm throwing really big baits. But now in the winter, especially in this 38-degree temperature water, I have to downsize my hooks considerably. I got to downsize my baits. So I dropped down to a lot of 8/0 and 9/0 size hooks. Not a real big hook by most standards, but for the type of bait I'm going to be throwing, is I'll use these pieces of paper to kind of illustrate the size of bait I'm throwing. Most time in the winter time, about that big right there. About the size of your average book of matches. And sometimes I will go a little bigger if we get a little warmer day. But these fish are kind of lethargic. They're going to feed, but you got to downsize that bait. But that's saying this for the Midwest. I know the Texas guys, their water temperatures don't get nowhere near as cold as this, and they're still throwing some really big baits. And these circle hooks, that's a big thing. These are 8/0 and 9/0 Rivercat tackle circle hooks I'm throwing. These things are wicked. But when you hook your baits, don't bury that hook all the way through that bait. Because when you reel down that fish, that hook's going to turn into the bait. You just barely want to bury that hook through the top of the bait, just like that. Just barely stick it in there. And one thing too, in these colder temperatures, these fish tend to not hit super aggressive sometimes. Don't get me wrong, sometimes they will still slam the rod, but a lot of times they will hit very sensitive. Case in point, I was fishing a tournament yesterday with my good friend Josh Duncan, Weekend Angler. He bought some very light action rods yesterday, and that was the key to success right there, using those lighter rods. In the summertime, I run heavy action, medium heavy action rods. My madkatzrods I use all the time. And even though the medium have really good sensitive action, you need something that has a fast, light tip in the winter, because these fish, for a lot of times, will just hit it, and boy, they'll just barely load that rod. So I will drop down to a medium heavy style rod that has a very fast, sensitive tip, where fish just hit it. It will allow that rod to load up without that fish feeling resistance. If they feel that resistance, they're going to spit the bait. Because they're not like during the summer when they're hitting all out. So, and now bait in the wintertime, here in the Midwest, in the Mississippi River, and a lot of our lakes, shad is key for us. Shad is key, and fresh shad. If you can get the fresh shad, absolutely. You either chunk it or fillet it. But remember, stay fairly small on your baits. And give it more time when you're on the whole water. Especially being a bank guy, I fish a lot of time for the bank. You've got to give it more time than normal. Because a lot of times in the summer, fall, you can get up on a hole, within 20, 30 minutes, you know if it's going to happen. Because these fish in the winter have little periods of time throughout the day, little windows throughout the time of the day when they will hit. They're not moving as much, but they will eat. Do not let anybody tell you that you cannot catch catfish in the winter. Blue cat, channel cat, you definitely 100% can catch all winter. They still got to feed. Just got to put a little more time in. And guys, dress properly, dress warm, get out there, and just put your time in. And look for deeper water. Like here in the river, I look for deeper, slower water than versus a faster current. And you lake guys, same deal. If you can find good deep water and use your navionics, which is really good on your lakes, not so much on the river because it doesn't give you a very detailed reading on the river. But on lakes, it's usually really accurate. If you can find good deep water, target those areas. And the time of day, it'll vary a lot of times. Lately for me, it's been more of a late afternoon bite. Once that sun gets up higher in the water column and gets that zooplankton working, sometimes it'll start moving up a little bit shallower. And that's one thing too. When you find these deep holes, try to find areas that has access to shallower water. Because you do get some warmer days, these fish will move up shallower. So, guys, I'm hoping a few of these tips will help you guys out with some wintertime catfishing. I said, just put your time in, downsize your baits, downsize your hooks just a bit, go to a lot faster, more sensitive rods than you would normally use, shorten your leader length, and guys, get out there and have fun with it, but don't make yourself miserable. But guys, wintertime is a time to catch some giants. So good luck to you guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.